This is KGW News at noon.
Oregon lawmakers are back in Salem getting ready for a new session, and within the hour we will officially have a new governor. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brenda Braxton. Oregon's 82nd Legislative Assembly is about to get underway. Lawmakers are back together in the Capitol for the first time since before the pandemic. This all kicked off at 9 o'clock this morning as new lawmakers were sworn in. Representative Dan Rayfield was re-elected as Speaker of the House. And then coming up this afternoon at 1 o'clock, Governor-elect Tina Kotek will be sworn in, and she will address lawmakers immediately afterward. As for some of the other changes at the Capitol, Senator Bob Wagner was elected Senate President after Peter Courtney, Oregon's longest-serving lawmaker, retired last year. Wagner represents Lake Oswego. Representative Vicki Breeze Iverson is taking over the role as House Republican leader. She replaces Christine Drazen, who resigned last year to run for governor. And today it is notable that only 29 senators will be present. Republican Dallas Hurd resigned last year. His seat will be filled later this week. Opening day of the session is coming up next Tuesday. And this is a long one. It's scheduled to wrap up June 25th. This is also the most diverse set of lawmakers in Oregon's history, with 19 people of color, including 6 African Americans, 2 Native Americans, 5 Vietnamese Americans, and 7 Latino lawmakers. Tina Kotek will be the first openly lesbian governor in Oregon. Okay, let's take a look at what they'll be working on over the next several months. Senator Lou Frederick says the biggest issues facing the state are education, housing, transportation, and public safety. State Representative Travis Nelson agrees. He was appointed to fill Kotek's vacant seat last year, representing North and Northeast Portland. Nelson says he has a meeting with TriMet today to discuss safety. This comes after a 3-year-old girl was pushed onto the MAX tracks less than 2 weeks ago. And then just last week, an elderly man was savagely attacked at a Gresham MAX station.
We recognize that mental health, housing, driving down the cost of living, and community safety are priorities for Oregonians.
Republicans gained seats in the last election, breaking the Democrats' supermajority. Oregon voters also passed a new law aimed at stopping lawmakers from walking out over bills. We also want to talk about Washington this noon. Lawmakers in Olympia are meeting in person for the first time since the pandemic began. Here are some of the issues up for debate: a constitutional amendment to protect abortion rights, an assault weapons ban, and a $4 billion bond measure to build thousands of affordable housing units.
We haven't seen anything like this in a number of years, decades, in fact. And what the governor is saying is that the time has come for a solution out of Olympia that meets the scope of the state's housing and homelessness crisis.
Washington's legislative session lasts 105 days, wrapping up on April 29th. Okay, let's talk weather on this Monday afternoon. Rod, it's been a blustery day.
It has. A big headline, though, between 11 and 11:30 this morning, the National Weather Service canceled both the wind warning at the coast and canceled the wind advisory up and down I-5. The reason that was issued was a low center that was producing gusty winds this morning. That has now moved away from our area up to the north. Now, we still have some pretty good winds out there. I mean, you'll notice things blowing around. These are current wind speeds. Still south to 39 up in Astoria, gusting to 30 in Newport, south winds gusting to 24 in Salem, 32 in Bend, 21 in Kelso. But the winds we had this morning were more between 30 and 40 in the valley, and we did pop some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Pacific County. It's a county up in Washington around the Long Beach Peninsula. But again, all those winds have east. Right here, right there is where the low has moved to our north that produced that little burst of wind that we had earlier this morning. So the rest of today, breezy but not concerning in terms of the winds. We have a lot of rain on the radar. In fact, some very heavy showers out in Washington County on the west side of the Portland metro area right now, and some rain, it looks like, moving into downtown. We're at 49 degrees, highs stay around 50. Again, watch out for heavy showers. Maybe you hear a rumble of thunder. It's a possibility. Brenda, that's the forecast for now.
All right. Thank you, Rod.
my brain went into overdrive and I realized what was happening. And I just started sprinting, and I've just never been so scared and just.
We're hearing from witnesses and the Portland Public School District about a shooting during a high school basketball tournament at Franklin High. What you're looking at here is video showing the chaos Saturday night as people ran out of the gym following the shooting in the school's parking lot. Police say a bullet grazed a teenager, but he is doing okay today. A suspect is 15 years old. This boy is now in custody. The district superintendent released a statement yesterday reading in part, "As educators, we call on our city's elected leaders, law enforcement, and the justice system to prioritize the development of a comprehensive neighborhood safety plan that protects our children, youth, families, and neighbors from this continued gun violence." Portland Police Chief Chuck Lavelle also released a statement on Twitter thanking the officers who were there. He also said police are working with PPS to add extra patrols in the neighborhood this week. Students are back on campus today, and mental health professionals are available for the kids and for their families. Jefferson High School has also had issues with gun violence. In response, PPS and PBOT are installing traffic barriers around campus. They're along North Commercial Avenue, right between Killingsworth and Alberta, allowing just one car at a time to pass through. Last fall, police responded to 2 shootings near Jefferson High that injured 2 students. Neighbors and parents say they're hopeful these new traffic barriers will help.
I think anything we need to do to reduce gun violence is a good thing, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
So I don't know how much of the drive-by shooting. I think it was more so just to slow down the traffic.
This isn't the first time the city has tried traffic strategies to curb gun violence. About a year ago in Southeast, PBOT installed these orange barrels in the Mount Scott Arleta neighborhood to slow down cars that may be involved in a crime. Well, we have some developing news. The Portland Thorns just announcing their new head coach. The announcement coming right at noon. Former assistant coach Mike Norris is taking over that head coaching job. Last month, former head coach Rian Wilkinson resigned after she admitted to having a relationship with a player. An investigation determined she did nothing wrong, but when the rest of the team found out, they called for her to resign. Well, West Linn's new interim mayor is just 23 years old. He was appointed after his predecessor resigned for a seat in the Oregon legislature. Devin Haskins introduces us to this Gen Z political whiz and looks at what he wants to accomplish.
At just 23 years old, Mayor Rory Bialystowski became the city's youngest mayor ever. Technically, he's the interim mayor after the previous one resigned after winning a seat in the state legislature. But no matter the title, his focus is on the city and some big issues he wants to tackle.
Rory Bialystowski is like any 23-year-old.
I like to watch the news. I like to play golf, spend time with friends and family, and travel.
His travels these days.
How's it going? Good. How are you doing?
Good. Take him through the West Linn City Halls as their new mayor. He may have just graduated high school in 2018 and college last year. But despite the young age, he's certainly no stranger to West Linn politics.
And I got involved with some city issues in high school. That's when I kind of fell in love with government, if you will.
That passion won him a seat on the city council in 2020 at the age of 21. 2 years later, he was appointed city council president.
Thank you.
Then on Tuesday,
I would like to make a motion, actually, to...
The city council appointed him mayor of a city with a $70 million budget and 27,000 residents.
There is a point when the weight of the office kind of hits you, I suppose, where it's kind of like, wow, this is happening.
As the city's interim mayor, it's a title he'll hold till May. His focus is on 3 projects impacting the city: getting the police oversight board up and running, trying to find ways to alleviate traffic on city streets because of the eventual I-205 tolling.
We got to figure out how to increase the capacity.
And finding money to help fund a $12 million loan that the city paid ODOT for to replace a water pipe on 205.
We don't have any money to pay for the loan back. So we're working on figuring out where to get that money.
When asked if he feels he can make a difference in the next 5 months, His response?
I do think so.
He also hopes his role as mayor inspires others, despite their age.
My goal is to show that young people can do politics and get involved and be successful.
A special election will be held on May 16th when the city's residents will elect a full-time mayor. Rory says he's leaning on running, but hasn't officially made up his mind yet. I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.